Now, you were down in Stillwater very recently, training with the Cowboys. I think you maybe ran a practice. What did you see from the Cowboys? What are your thoughts on what's going on at Oklahoma State, and were you able to train with
Oh,
or?
Oklahoma State, man.
Yeah,
He's doing a good job. He's doing a good job. Listen, I still send Beacon still going to Nebraska, but he's doing a pretty damn good job. I've been watching, admiring from afar, just because, you know, I've had some interest from some collegiate programs, so I'm kind of watching and saying, okay, here's where I'm at in my career. Here's what I'm thinking. Do I want to transition? Is collegiate coaching something that I'm interested in? And so he's kind of been our test subject. He's the guinea pig for all of the guys in my space, right? Close to retirement, on the fringes of saying, okay, do we, you know, sit back and rest, or do we jump into this game? And so I got a chance to spend time with John Smith. I got a chance to spend time with David. John Smith, I'm like, hey, listen, should I coach collegiate wrestling? And he's like, absolutely, done. You should do it. You should do it. And the hardest part, right? I've got 5 little ones. There's very little work-life balance. And talking to David, I got the chance to see what he's built. I see, number one, the first thing he's done really well is he's surrounded himself with high-level coaches with great experience, veterans in the game. Kevin Ward, Brian Pearsall, Jimmy Kennedy, Tyler Caldwell. Guys who have done a really good job, been in the game for a long time, can navigate all of the logistics of compliance and scheduling and scholarships. So all he has to do is be the face and go out and make sure he inspires the guys the right way. Second, he hasn't missed on any recruits, right? He's got all the guys he's wanted. Drayshawn Ross, Jax Forrest, the Rainey twins, Sergio Vega, Cody Rutledge, right? So he's getting all the best guys, which also leads me to another example. You need talent. You need talent. I don't care how great of a coach you are, how much you can influence the diamonds in the rough. Those guys are extremely rare. You need talent in the room. And he has it, right? So when I was there, I wrestled with Casey Swiderski and Dean Hamidi and Caleb Fishback and D Lockett and Mirzo and all these guys. Oh, and on top of it, he's got Zoe,
hmm
um, as an RTC coach, and then also his new addition in Lee Roper. And I'd say lastly, and this is not an advertisement for Oklahoma State, but truly he's doing a good job there. And then lastly is they have a pipeline, what I call from the root to the fruit, right? So from inception, cradle to the grave, you can live in a single city and do every single moment of your career. There's no place like it, right? So you got the CWC, or the Cowboy Wrestling Club for the youth wrestlers. They got about 200 wrestlers there in Stillwater. They also got the farm now. Coleman Scott's built the farm, so they've got different clinicians coming in weekly, and you can spend your entire summers there. Then you transition to do your scholastic wrestling at Stillwater High School, right? That's where Ignacio Villasenor and D Lockett and Dayton Fix and all these guys went to school. Then of course you go to Oklahoma State, and then from Oklahoma State you transition to the senior level CWC, right? So from the time you're 5 to you're 35, you can literally spend all in the same city. There's very few places that you can do that. So that's the blueprint, right? He's pretty much laid out the blueprint of here's what you need to do to have a successful collegiate program, and it doesn't take coaching chops. And I would say the last part of it is all he knows is NIL, right? So a lot of older coaches that have been in the game for a long time, they've had to actively try to make terms and come to grips with the fact that they've got to pay athletes most of the time more money than they're making as a coach. It's really hard. That's a hard mental transition for these guys, but for him, it's all he knows. And he's got a blank checkbook, which helps as well, right? So, he's in a good place. He's got me thinking a lot about college coaching, and the possibility of it. But you need money. You need money. But the blueprint's there, and if the right offer comes to the table, I would definitely be willing to sit down and talk about it.
I think it was, I don't know if it was 2013-14 season. You were on staff at Nebraska, and you kind of talked about that experience as like,
Yeah,
man,
it was hard.
I do not want to be in charge of 30 college kids. No way. But now it sounds like with the changing landscape, something a little more interesting. What would that process be like for, hey, we want to get Jordan Burroughs to coach at our school. What sort
Yeah.
of circumstances would probably need to exist for you to entertain that?
Yeah, how about Nebraska first, right?
I was gonna ask about
Nebraska's,
that.
bro,
Yes,
they're rolling. They're doing a good job. They're putting themselves in position. They'll be fighting for another trophy. This is not a blip, right? Flash in the pan. They've got sustainable success. They got some good guys. They have another great team. They'll win the trophy again this year. Um, Here's the thing. Later in my career, my wrestling just became a passion project, right? It was really no longer lucrative for me to wrestle. I actually, and I say this humbly and respectfully, but I made more money in 2024 than I have in my entire career, right? And so in the year that I wrestled least, I made the most. And so the goal for me has been to compete and train at a high level because I love the game and not because of what it can provide for me. And so from a coaching perspective, it's the same thing, right? Like I'm not looking at David Taylor's salary and saying, "Ooh, I need to get into coaching because I need a big payday." Like I'm fine, right? I'm in a good place, right? And so this is why I'm able to kind of sit and relax and rest and do what I want to do every day. I get to wake up, I get to work out with my son Beacon, I make breakfast for my family, I get to homeschool the kids with my wife, and then I go and teach youth wrestling from 5 to 9. My life is easy, it's good. But the but I want to win. I want to play. I just want to play. I like to play, bro. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in a casino and I'm walking by a craps table, I have a hard time just standing by watching
I
people,
understand.
right? I'm like, bro, hand me the dice, dog. I want to play. And so so that's kind of those are kind of my vibes. Like I like to play the game. And so, being in youth wrestling, it's impactful and it's empowering and I love it, man. I'm committed to these families and our community we've established is I'm changing generations of athletes and their futures. Right? I've got so much from wrestling. I want that for all of these families that I teach. Um, but it's a different game, right? It's like almost like being a father. It's a thankless job, and you're trying to establish championship pedigree into parents who know nothing about the sport, right? And so it can be a very self-serving for the families. It's give me, take, right? Where at the highest level, I'm like, man, I want to be on the stage, right? Like I want to do something high level. So it's tricky. It's tricky. I think, yeah, that year at Nebraska kind of influenced me in a way in which, while I was simultaneously trying to manage and juggle being the best wrestler in the world, it was really difficult. But now, as I sit back and I'm like, well, I'm already coaching. Right? I'm teaching these guys. I'm traveling with them. I'm taking them on trips. I'm building curriculum. I'm structuring systems. I'm engaging with parents. Right? I'm managing personalities. I am, breeding results and selling a dream of success and putting these guys in position to change their lives and establish character. All things you would do at the highest level. Um, yeah, so that's kind of where my thoughts have changed. And then honestly, spending time with David and John has kind of changed my perspective too.
Yeah.
Because those are both guys that I admire and respect. So when I was sitting with them, I'm like, David, what do you think? Here's what I got. Here's what I see. He's like, bro, you're thinking of all the hard things. It's also a really cool experience. That's really hard to quantify. But he's also like, but free time, it's over. Because if you're free, someone else is not, and they're catching up, or they're widening the gap, right? So you're in this constant rat race of trying to be the best at all times. And if the one thing I know about David is he's a competitor. He's a competitor, and he does a phenomenal job. But right now I'm enjoying where I'm at. You know, I love what I'm doing with our kids. I've got a lot of really really good athletes that I'm committed to helping grow. I want to see them through this thing, right? I want to see them through this. And so every day, my goal is not to be the guy who says, yeah, I'm committed, but if something good comes, I'm going to leave, right? My goal is to be the the guy that is reliable, and we can create sustainable success together.
Yeah.
And so I'm committed to all of our athletes at the All I See Is Gold Academy. I am making sure that I'm implementing structure and pedigree so these guys go on to experience the fullness of what wrestling can bring to themselves and their families. And so that's my job right now. I am trying to build a wrestling club, organization, academy, unlike really anything this region of the country has seen. So that's what excites me at this moment.